Welcome back to the Honey Jam podcast. We have another special guest for you. Jess, would you like to do the honors of announcing who this guest is?
All right, so we started off our second season pretty strong with Janice's husband, David, and the feedback has been phenomenal. I think a lot of people enjoyed our first episode, so thank you so much for tuning in. We had a lot of fun recording it too, and just having a casual convo, but also serious, also heartfelt, and also inspirational. This is getting too long. Second episode. I'm happy to introduce my husband, Josh Shin.
Woo!
Welcome, Josh.
Ooh. Hello. Thank you for having me on the pod.
Yeah, I just want to start off by saying thank you to the Shins, hui 엄마 and 아빠, because this is their precious 육퇴 time, which is time where they finally get to relax and baby is sleeping, but we're carving out an hour and a half of their precious time. So thank you, Josh and Jess.
No problem.
It's been pretty rough. Today, especially, Josh and I, we're feeling it. The burdens of parenthood and just living life, As you can tell, Josh
I'm so out of it.
Josh is so tired.
Yeah, I was telling Jess right before, I was like, oh my God, I really don't want to do the podcast today. It's because I was sick. So I took work Monday, Tuesday off. Or Monday off, Tuesday I work from home. Today is my first day back in the office after being sick. And like my train riding is an ordeal in and of itself. Because not only do I take the train, I ride my electric scooter to the train station. Ride the train with my electric scooter. And then I ride my electric scooter from the train station to my work. It's a whole ordeal. And I got a cut on my finger.
Oh no.
So I know our non-YouTube listeners can't see, but I have what's called on Amazon a finger condom on my finger. And for people who don't know what a finger condom is, it's pretty much a condom that you put on your finger.
Yeah.
To make sure there's no like liquid or wetness or anything that gets on it, because I was cutting some mangoes. Normally, like I know kitchen safety, right? It's the claw method, so you don't cut your fingers.
Yeah.
But it was so slippery. I was holding it together like this. I was squeezing the mango together. And I was like putting the knife in between, doing those chef like long slices.
Oh no.
The long chef strokes on the wooden cutting board. And then it got caught and then it went into my finger. So I cut off like almost my entire finger pad. It was like...
Crazy thing is, Josh, he like reacted in the same way that you described, Janice. When you had your Mandalorian accident, his blood was like dripping and I was like panicking because he was like going crazy. I mean, actually, no, he wasn't going crazy. He was just off to the side, but I had to tend to him. But then like the blood was everywhere. And then he started breaking out in cold sweat. And I was like,
I wasn't panicking. Gosh. I was just like so like shocked.
There was a lot of blood. Yeah.
A lot of blood. I'm like, okay, I got to wipe my hand. Yeah. I like barely felt it. And then all of a sudden it started getting really painful. I put Neosporin on it and then wrapped it up really tight.
That's it? You didn't need stitches?
No, we sent the video to our neighbor is a PA. She's like, I'll stitch it up if I have to, but it doesn't look like it's like a deep cut. All that to say.
It was a hard week.
It was an ordeal going to work today. So actually going there wasn't bad, but coming back was an ordeal.
I see. That's why you look so distraught. Can I just say though, like looking at you two together on my screen, you guys are right next to each other. It's so funny how like if I squint my eyes like this, I just combine your faces. It's hui. Like it's both of you guys combined is hui.
It's so funny because when I meet with people outside, it's usually like me and hui because Josh is obviously like going into work now. But everyone who we meet for the first time says like, "Oh, 엄마랑 똑같이 생겼네요," because we live in a pretty Korean community. But they're basically saying like, "Oh my gosh, your son looks exactly like you." And then I'm like, "Oh, you know what though? He gets that he looks more like his dad." And they're like, "Really?" And then later on when Josh comes home, we take him out again, right, in the evening. Yeah. And then they like come out again, right? Because all the neighbors are like trying to survive, especially the ones with kids. So we go out and then they approach us and they're like, oh my gosh, you're right. He looks exactly like his dad. And I'm like, yeah.
Well, actually, I think more than us, really, I think he looks like my dad and Jess's mom. combined.
Oh.
Like if you do like a face combination of them both, it's Hui.
I think it's because like out of our parents, like my mom has a more like 진한,
Dominant
more
genes.
dominant face. Yeah, dominant, not dominant face, dominant genes.
Yeah.
And then same for Josh's dad. Like Josh's mom has softer features, but Josh's dad has like very strong features. So
Yeah, the Shin genes are very strong.
It's
yes,
true.
and the Lee genes.
All of my dad and his brothers, and they all seriously, like everyone in my family, even cousins, like everyone's like, oh, you guys are definitely related.
Yeah, they
There's
all
no
look
mistaking
alike.
it.
And I don't know if you guys know, for those of you guys listening, Josh has 2 younger sisters, but his youngest sister, Michelle, when I first met them, I was legitimately shocked because Josh said he has a younger baby sister who is like 5 years younger, right, Josh? I don't know. 4 years younger. He was just like, yeah, like she's the baby of our family. I'm like, okay. And for some reason, I was expecting her to look completely different, or just like I don't know, like younger, like the baby, you know?
Yeah.
But it's literally, and I'm so sorry, Michelle, if you're listening, because she hates hearing
Shout out,
this.
Michelle.
It's literally Josh's face copied and pasted. But then the thing is, like Michelle's pretty.
Hey, but it works. All right, it works.
It does.
That's what I'm saying.
Work.
Like
That's what I would like to say.
Michelle's so pretty, she's so cute, but it's just weird because it looks like Josh.
Actually, Hui's pictures kind of look like a lot like Michelle's when she was a baby.
Oh.
Like Hui right now. So if you look at Michelle's baby pictures, there's a lot of angles where we're like, oh, that looks like kind of like Hui.
Hui looks like Michelle because again, Shin genes are strong.
Yeah.
But also when we ask Hui, 아빠 어딨어? When the komos are over, he points to Michelle.
That's why. So Michelle, Hui, our son, me and Jess's son, is much nicer to Rachel, my the other sister. She's the one in the middle. He like loves her, but he's kind of cold to Michelle.
Michelle, your twin.
He kind of doesn't give her the time of day. Like he'll like play hide and seek with her, and he'll like be coy and stuff. But like he shows like an outpouring of love to Rachel, and we suspect it's because Michelle looks like me.
And
so
he's scared of you?
He associates it. He's not scared of me, but he just likes his 엄마 more than 아빠. 아빠 has to chase him around, but almost the one he goes to when he's like scared.
Oh, wow.
So we think that's why, for Michelle, for him, it's just like, oh, it's like appa. It's just appa.
I'm going to make a carousel of a photo of Josh, Jess, Hui, and Michelle. And just like, you'll swipe through it and everyone will just look alike.
Also super funny, because whenever Michelle and Rachel are over, like again, our neighbors see. And one time, shout out Andrew Park of our neighborhood, because he listens to Honey Jam too.
Shout out.
Dude, what the heck? Like Michelle looks exactly like she looks exactly. Are they twins? Like he was so
it's
shocked.
Uncanny.
It's super uncanny, yeah. And I remember that feeling because that's how I felt when I first saw them. I was like, wait, you didn't tell me you had a twin, Josh.
I still don't see it. I just acknowledge it because so many people say it. But I personally don't see that.
You don't see it? That's crazy to me.
Wait, that was a very long-winded introduction of the guest. I'm sorry.
No.
Very tangential. Wait, I was listening to David's podcast. It started off like very like deep and intense. It was like how I made this kind of vibes.
Yeah.
And then I feel like we're starting off kind of like the exact opposite. Yeah, we're starting off like it's completely on a tangent about how I'm tired from work.
You know what though? Yeah. That's
we need
the
to get
charm.
deep all of a sudden.
No. We don't have it's just a natural flow of conversation. That's what we do here on the Honey Jam podcast. We just talk about anything and everything. I feel like Josh, we talk a lot about Josh on the podcast, but Josh is kind of a mystery, Well,
I don't have social media.
For someone who doesn't have social media, how are you in the know? Because I feel like Josh, we call him kind of like, he's like the encyclopedia. He's a Wikipedia. He just knows everything. How is that possible, Josh?
To give a real answer, non-joking answer to that question. I think it's because growing up, I like to read a lot.
Oh,
I think for me, just memorizing just comes naturally to me, or like I can recall, I have like good knowledge recollection. But secondarily, I think even now, I think I just get in these like things, like when something sounds interesting to me, I need to look it up. So Jess always knows this because like we always laugh about it because I'm always like, Jess, what is that? What do you think that is? The first thing I'll do is I'll Google it and look for sources and I'll, Wikipedia it and like, click the sources on Wikipedia to check for accuracy. And then Jess is like, what are you doing? It's like an hour later. And I'm like, oh, I'm looking up the thing that we were talking about before. And she's like, what? Like, why would you do that? And then I'm like, well, it's just like interesting to me. Just, pick my interest. Because like, recalling knowledge comes more easily and more naturally to me, I think. And because I get like that itchy feeling of like, oh, what is that? Like, I need to know about it. I think it just helps me just remember certain facts a little bit more.
근데 확실히 Josh is smart.
He's so smart, 진짜. 그건 인정.
Yeah. And I feel like it's kind of
For the podcast listeners, I'm shaking my head.
It's 반전. It's like a surprise, an element of surprise, because I feel like Josh, when I first saw Josh, he like kind of had like a 날라리 look. Even now, he looks kind of like, like a troublemaker student that doesn't like school and like, he knows he's good looking, so like, popular with the girls. 약간 그런 style, but Josh is like very nerdy, very smart.
Yeah. No, I remember when I first met Josh too. And I guess like this is like a segue into our first impressions. And you can kind of elaborate, Janice, on yours. But I talked about this like when we first met our husbands. Like he just approached me and he had this like OC, like almost like, like 날라리 오빠 vibe. And then also we were in a class called Linguistics 1 together.
Yes. At UCLA.
And I didn't talk about this.
I remember.
Yeah, we were in Ling 1 together. And I was a very diligent student. Like I went on time. I listened to every lecture. I took very good notes. And I got good grades on my quizzes and all that jazz, right? But every lecture, Josh would come in with like red, bloodshot eyes in the morning. He would be late, first of all. And he would just look exhausted. First, I thought it was because he smoked weed, but it's literally because he was so tired. He was just up all night the day before, like the lecture.
Doing what?
I don't know, like playing games or like just like hanging out with his friends. But he comes with like bloodshot eyes and he's just like tired. He's like, he puts his head down. He's like sleeping. And I'm like, 역시, I knew he was, 날라리, it doesn't study. And then he has the audacity to ask me, hey, Jess, like, can I get your notes? Can I see your homework? But and then he would actually ask this to other friends too. But then my other friends would be like, no. But because I'm like a people pleaser, and I also thought like Josh was kind of cute, be like, okay, and then I like gave it to him. So Josh actually in the beginning he thought I was like a really really nice like person because I did that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. I remember that. It's because that class was at 8 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, so early.
Yeah, it was like a super early class. It was actually taught by, he was like a pretty famous linguistics professor. I would stay up late at night, not be, I wish I was doing something productive or just literally just hanging out. Nothing else, like just pure like messing around, like horseplay almost, like, horseplay with the guys in our dorm rooms, and then I would just be so tired in the morning, not even eat breakfast, my eyes are red, literally not from, any type of, illicit drug use, but literally because I'm exhausted. And then
Kinda
so I never took notes. I always asked Jess for her homework, her notes. And she always gave it to me. So I was like, oh man, she's like so nice. So
okay, so I have a question though for our listeners. Jess, Josh, and I, we all went to school together. Josh was a class above us. But like Josh, I feel like he always kind of had like a mysterious vibe about him. And I remember when Josh first asked, or when Jess told me that Josh asked Jess on a date, I was like very confused because I was like, oh, that kind of came out of nowhere. Like I had no idea that Josh had interest in Jess. So my question is, Josh, like what do you remember the moment you were like, okay, I gotta ask this girl out on a date?
Yeah, I remember when I first saw Jess, when I first laid eyes on her. I remember just being like, whoa, like she is very like my style. She had like this like burning orange hair, like Naruto. And I was like, oh man. Yeah. And I was like, oh man. I was like, I'm gonna go talk to her right now.
Oh wow.
I literally went up to her. I was like, I don't even know what I said. I remember. I just remember something saying like, "Hey, nice to meet you," whatever. And then, I remember asking, "Hey, are you a freshman?" She's like,
Oh.
"Yeah." Do I look like a freshman? And I think I said, "Yes, you do."
Oh,
And then I said
flirting right
something
off the
dumb
bat.
like, "How old do you think I am?" And she's like, junior. I was like, "No." I think that's how the interaction went. And then I Facebook stalked her after, and then I found out she has a boyfriend. So I think once I found out she has a boyfriend, obviously like I write, it's just like, oh, like she's not interested in relationships, so it's just friend zone type thing. Like you don't want to get in the middle of getting. So it's just like, oh, she's just an underclassman friend. And then so it was like that. So for a long time. So that was my sophomore year.
Yeah, because Jess came into college as a freshman with a boyfriend, but then she was single for a very short sliver of time during sophomore year, and that's when you swooped in and you grabbed her.
Yes, I think there was at least like 15 to 20 guys that liked her.
That is not... Why do you guys always do that?
10 for sure.
Okay, 10, yeah. That sounds more accurate. At the time, I had no idea. I think I was just trying to do me, like trying to find myself. Who am I? Like, who do I like? Like, in college, like, you don't really know who you are like we do now. Not that we really, but we have a better sense of self in our late 20s and our 30s than we did like when we were in college, right out of high school.
Yeah.
And then so I found that she was single, but it still wasn't like, oh, like, hey, like you're single, like let's talk. It was just like, oh, like she's single. That was like an interesting fact. But then the more I got to talk with her, she's like very cool.
Yeah.
Like I found her like hilarious, which I don't really usually find a lot of people that funny. But I found Jess like really, really funny to me for some reason.
Aww.
For some reason, I am funny.
Yeah. But then there was this moment though I thought that she liked me. Because not because of anything, but there was this one incident. She's like, "Hey, there's like a Shane and Shane concert going on.
Oh,
you want to go together? You want to come with?" And I was like, "Oh, like." I was like, who else is going? She's kind of prying and see like, she's like, oh, I'm going with like, I think you were there, Janice, right? Jess?
I was there. Yep.
A couple other people. But then I was like, oh, I'm the only guy. So I thought that Jess had an interest in me.
Aww.
And when you like think a girl likes you, even if you don't like them or anything, like you kind of get like, oh, like.
Yeah, it's flattering.
But because I already thought like, oh, she's very cute. And I thought, I was like, oh, does she have interest in me? It made me more aware. Like, I thought I could be more bold. Because I was never that, like, super bold person growing up. If I liked someone, I always kept it to myself. I remember, like, I had a crush in, like, 6th grade. I couldn't tell her that I liked her. So she was asking me, like, who do you like on AIM? I told her, I said, you. And then I signed off. And I made a new username because I could never use that username again. I never wanted to log in.
Oh, my God.
So growing up, I was always that guy. If I liked someone, I always kept it to myself. Because I didn't want to, like, face rejection. So I'd rather just not say anything and just be like, keep it to myself. It takes a lot for me to, like, tell someone that, like, oh, I am interested in you. So for Jess, when Jess was, like, inviting me to the Shin and Jane concert, I was like, oh, I could be bold. So that's why, it was during Christmas break. It was pretty soon after the Shin and Jane concert. And I was like, trying to work up my courage. And I was like, hey, Jess, like, what are you doing? I thought she was into me. At that time, she was not at all. But it was just my own thought. So I was like trying to be all slick and cool. I was like, hey, what are you doing right now? And she's like, oh, I'm eating cooler with Maximus. So, and Maximus was
Josh, you remember?
Yeah, it was the English bulldog she used to have.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what are you doing tonight? It's like, oh, nothing. Just Christmas Eve alone. And I thought that was the extra hint, but it was literally, she was just saying, like, she had no plan. But I took that as like, oh, it's time to make the move. So I was like, hey, you want to go watch a movie with me? And she's like, okay, sure. Who else is coming? And then I was like, oh, no one. It's just you and me. It's a date. And then I don't even know where that came from because, like I said, I was never like that super bold, daring person. So I was just like, yeah, it's a date. And then I think just kind of like that boldness.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked about the same story in.
Yeah, but now you get my perspective. Now you get my perspective on it. And as listeners to the second podcast, we know we watched the super. For her, it was boring. For me, it was very interesting. Lincoln, Daniel Day-Lewis, one of the finest actors of the generation.
Boring.
Jess is literally falling asleep. 20 minutes into the movie, she's like on her chair, she's like this, and I'm like panicking. I'm like, oh my god, there's no way that if this is that first impression, like I'll never recover from this. That Tiger King meme, like I'm never gonna recover from this. That was like me.
I don't know either.
But
come
on, guys.
I think it's funny because like in a way, like Jess actually, she was just the Shane and Shane concert, little things that you thought were hints actually were just just casual things, but because of that you were able to gain the courage to ask her out. Yes. And then even though the movie sucked, like look where you guys are now. You guys end up getting married and now have a beautiful son together. So it's like 진짜 timing, God's timing, God's sovereignty, everything just lined up perfectly. Because what if Jess like never asked you to the Shane and Shane concert? I mean, Josh probably would have ended up liking Jess anyways, but that gave him the courage.
Hey, my computer is so hot to the touch. Like I need a new computer, Josh.
Hint, hint.
We will get you one.
Wow. 진짜, in my 4 years at UCLA, third wheeling these two, first of all, I had always wanted a boyfriend. That was just my dream. But seeing these two lovebirds and Josh, granting every wish of Jess's, I was just so jealous in college.
Every wish.
Every wish.
I will say though, Josh is very generous with his gifts.
And
whenever I want something, he always tells me to get it. But then I get cold feet. I go, why? Why should I get it? He's like, you wanted it. I'm like
the Gucci
but
bag.
Is it worth it? Yeah. Like when we went to Korea, like a lot of stuff are like I don't know, like tax free, you know, at the airport, at duty free. So he's like, get it, Jess, get it. I'm like, no. And then I got cold feet. Even for like my push gift, I wanted like a Van Cleef necklace. And he's like, get it, Jess. And I'm like,
wow.
No. I got cold feet. And then we ended up getting a Samsung fridge. And then when I tell everyone that, everyone's like, dude, that is not a push gift. I'm like,
so selfless.
It was to me.
Well, it's a really nice fridge.
It is.
The screen on it, and it gives Hui a lot of
entertainment.
Fun.
Okay, but today he had the biggest meltdown.
He did?
Yeah, Josh was like hard at work, and I was constantly texting Josh like, he just did this, he just kicked me, he's like yelling, he's being mean. And then basically what happened was I think it's because like he's going through a huge transition, going to daycare. He's taking naps there now, and it's just like a big change. And then on top of that, he's turning 2 in September. So like his mind is developing very quickly, and a lot of changes are happening internally and externally. So I think like all of that combined is just making him very like cranky after daycare, and like he just doesn't know what he wants. First thing he did was I gave him a banana, but I took it out of the peel, and he was like, no, and he was yelling at me about the banana, which I didn't tell you about, Josh. He was yelling at me because I took the banana out. And then he wanted me to carry him and do the fridge, like speaking of our Samsung fridge, and like do like basically go through the songs in like Spotify on our fridge. But then if you guys know our son, if you guys have seen our son, he is 32 pounds. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but he is only 1. So like he has always been in the bigger, percentile range.
Yeah.
And he's very big. He's very dense. I cannot carry him.
He wasn't just in the big range. He's always been in like the 95th, 99th percentile range.
Always.
Which is massive.
Wow.
And
he's got a big booty.
He's got a big
booty. Just like his dad.
Janice.
Josh does have a nice booty. So again, he is just like, he's so heavy that I cannot like hold him for too long. So I set him down, and he just went ballistic because he wanted me to like keep holding him and like singing hot potato. And I was like, dude, I cannot hold you. 엄마 팔 아야. That means my arm hurts. Like I can't. He started kicking me, like hitting me. And like he does it on purpose because he knows he's not supposed to do that. But then basically like I was so overstimulated, and like it was like literally like the 10th hit, you know, of the day. And I was like, okay, I can't stand this. So I like grabbed his arms and I was like, no. And I was being very stern, like to the point of where I was almost yelling, and I think it startled him. And then I went like, I kind of like hit his diaper, like, no, you okay? He started crying. And then it was like the most heartbreaking thing ever because when he cries, he pouts his lips really big like this. And like instant tears. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And then I make him say sorry, and he does like the sign language sorry.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And then I was like explaining to him like, Hui, when you hit 엄마 마음 알아야 해. Like 엄마 팔 알아야 해. I'm tearing up right now.
Oh.
I was like, when you hit me, it and I'm just explaining this to like a 1-year-old. Like it hurts me. It hurts my arm. It hurts my heart. Hajima, you can't hit people.
Yeah.
And like I'm teaching him this because first of all, like I don't want him to hit me, but also I don't want him to hurt other people, you know, and I'm trying to teach him this important lesson. And then I like while I'm saying this, I'm like tearing up and I'm like crying.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, 엄마 아야 해. Please don't hit. And then he looks at me, he goes, 뽀뽀, 뽀뽀.
Like a kiss?
Yeah. I'm like,
oh, he understood.
He's just doing that to kind of like, just, you know, change the subject, if you will. But he is already my son is already making me cry. So that was my day.
Is he more like you, Jess, or Josh, personality wise? Or is he
he is a good mix of us both. He is definitely a human of his own, which is crazy, right?
That blows my mind more than anything. I think because like I think although you don't want to, right? Like you don't want to have these expectations of your child because they're their own person. They need to be their own person.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want them to be a clone of me. I don't want them to be a clone of Jess. I don't want him to be someone I want him to be, you know? But at the same time, I think you can't help but like have an imagination of what you think your child might be like. I think it blows my mind that it's like he's more than what I expected. Of our child.
That's so beautiful, Josh.
To answer your question, Janice, he is a human. He is a being of his own, a human being. But then, you know, even still, like he has parts of us, and we pray for him every night. We always ask God, like, that he will resemble the best parts in us because, you know, Josh and I have our flaws. No need to say, but yeah, like we're always like, dang, like just like very superficial ones. Like I have keratosis pilaris on my arm. I don't know if you know that condition.
What is that?
But it's basically like bumps, like dead skin cells like clumped together and it makes like a little like bump, and I have a lot of that, and it actually comes up like even more when you're younger because you have a lot of oil, right? You just have a lot of oil as a younger, you know, being. But then my dad has it, and it was carried on to my sister and my brother and me. But now he has it, and it's so bad, like it's all over his arms. And I'm like, 미안해. I'm sorry, Hui. Every time I lotion his arms, I'm like, oh, I'm reminded of my own flaws. And then, Josh, you want to share yours? What he resembles and that you're scared of that he'll grow into?
What is it?
Yeah. So his extremities look exactly like my extremities. So his hands. So really wide hands. Like my palms are very meaty. I have very meaty palms. They're like very like thickness wise and like width wise.
That's so
like
true.
My palms are very wide. Like I don't know if you can tell from the camera, but like it's over 9 inches my hand size. So his palms, like, so my fingers are not long. Don't get me wrong. It's just my palms are really big.
Yeah.
Like so his palms are huge. They're like
that's so true.
Meat slabs. But what I'm scared of is the other extremities, his feet. I'm flat-footed. I'm completely flat-footed. If I step out of a swimming pool, it's like makes that slapping noise because it's so flat, like,
like a little duck.
and the footprint is never like a nice like footprint, you know. It's like straight up like a fat blob on the ground. And my foot is very like I have very wide feet, very like thick feet too. So Hui's feet is also very meaty.
Yeah.
And it's kind of flat, so I'm worried that I wanted to play a lot of sports growing up. And I played a lot of sports growing up, but like having flat feet makes it harder for you to like, because it's harder on your knees and your joints when you're flat-footed because it's not in alignment. So you get like tired feet a lot more easily.
I see.
So I don't want that for him. You know, I want him to have like a nice arch like his mom.
Yeah.
His feet are kind of flat. Everyone's saying, oh, all babies have flat feet.
Yeah.
But it's still looking pretty flat.
We're like, oh,
so and I'm seeing other kids start to have, get an arch. So
That's so funny.
Kind of worried.
When I first saw that Josh had flat feet, I was so shocked because I've never seen that before. I remember I just high-fived his flat feet.
And you called it a platypus.
Wait, Janice, I think you still do that.
It's so irresistible. It's just so flat. I just want to slap it.
I wanted to share that Josh, like when we first started becoming parents, I was actually so surprised by how like natural he was at taking care of a newborn.
Yeah.
Like for me, maybe it's because like I was like also healing like my body physically. But it's like I couldn't even really bond with Hui, with the baby. And I think it's just because like so much was going on. We were also like moving, so that was pretty crazy. But yeah, like I just remember like I didn't know how to change a diaper. I didn't know how to like love this little potato that is ours. And I was just so lost. But I remember Josh was so loving to Hui like right off the bat. And he was just like so enamored by him. And then he was so good at changing diapers and like doing all like, just like carrying stuff that I was like so impressed. Like, oh my gosh, like you wouldn't expect that for some reason, like for a first time dad. But he was like really, really good at caring for Hui as a baby. And even now, like he plays so well with Hui, but Hui loves me so much, too much, and he literally like slaps Josh's face away.
It's so funny because anytime like Josh, Jess, and Hui are in a room, Hui's like kissing Jess and like in love with his mom, and in the corner, Josh is just watching yearningly, smiling, but like a little still sad, that he doesn't get any attention from his son.
No, my time will come. We got closer, and recently with his sleep, our relationship got deeper.
Yes.
I'm next to him because he's been scared of the dark these days. And he's been waking up. So it's actually crazy. Yesterday he woke up, and before when you used to cry, it would just be crying, so it was bearable. Yeah. But now he says like our names, right? He says "Oma, Appa" when he cries. He's like "Appa, Appa." And then yesterday, he actually started saying, "Oma Mew, Appa Mew," saying like he's scared, like "Oma 무서워, Appa 무서워," like help me. So we were gonna like let him cry it out, but after we heard that, we were both like brushing our teeth and we're like
heartbroken.
Okay, I'll go in. So I went in. He didn't fall asleep, so then Jess went in and then Jess slept next to him.
Wow.
Yeah.
We did get closer because of that.
I'm glad you guys are getting closer, Josh.
Thank you.
I was just gonna add to that. It's because like before, Josh always puts him to sleep, or like he's like lying next to him and kind of like soothing him and saying like, "Okay, it's time to sleep." But then he gets very, very chatty right before he falls asleep. So he's like saying all the vocabulary he knows in his inventory. You know what I mean? Like he's saying like, "Hami, go, happy, go, Oma, poo poo, Appa, poo poo, Gori, aipa, Goi, aipa," and he goes. There's a little girl named Yeuni in our neighborhood, but he can't say Yeun, so he goes, popo, popo.
Is Jamo part of the vocabulary list now too?
Not yet. But he does recognize you, and he says, Jamo, Janissimo. But like so that's when like Josh kind of like tiki-takas with him. He like responds back. He goes, "Oma poo," and then like he laughs, and they like have this like tiki-taka going on, like pillow talk right before. And then at one point Josh gets like, "All right, like that's enough. Like, go to sleep." like hui
And then
koja.
and then I pretend to snore, and it does kind of like his breathing matches up with mine. 'Cause when I pretend to snore, I'm like, and I do it for like 5 minutes. Like his breathing starts to match, get deeper and deeper and heavier and
Wow.
heavier. One thing I wanted to talk about on the podcast,
Yes,
the
what
one
is it,
topic
Josh?
that I had in mind was I wanted to talk about Corona. And remember that trip that we had planned in 2021?
Yes.
Where it's us and Alan and Jane.
Uh-huh.
And we were all so excited. We are going to go to Korea for 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And we were like, this is going to be so fun. But even before that, the whole COVID thing and how I was telling everyone, yeah, you guys got to get ready for this new virus.
Oh,
You laughed at me. Everyone laughed at me. Everyone judged me. Do you remember that?
Wait, you're saying before COVID happened, you saw that COVID was going to happen soon?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't predict COVID. I mean, obviously, who can predict that? But I was one of the first people to hear about COVID because remember, me and Jess were in Korea, Japan in December of 2019.
Yeah.
And then we were in Japan waiting to go to Korea. And then I was watching CNN in the airport.
Yes.
And one of the tags, like the tagline's running underneath. And it was not a main story, but it was like, new virus discovered in China.
Yeah. Crazy.
And then I remember coming back from the trip. You were one of the first people we told, like, hey, Janice, there's this like new disease. Like,
yeah,
you should get ready. And you just laughed. You're like, you're crazy, Josh.
A disease? A virus, Josh? Like a movie? What, we're going to have shut down?
Wait. Also, like, we actually went to Cabo, like, for Janice's bachelorette. Was that like in March? Yeah. It was like right before the shutdown.
March 2020. It was literally right before everything went crazy.
Yes. And like Josh, he already, again, like he watched the news. He was warning everybody, like, guys, like Noah.
It's because, so a little bit of backstory to why I was warning people. It was because, after we came back from Korea, Japan, December, that for some reason that news tag never left my mind.
Oh.
So remember how in all full circle, remember beginning of the show today, I said once something gets interesting, like it's like an itch, and I need to look it up.
Oh my gosh.
This thing was something I needed to look up, and there's freaking no information anywhere. Right? I'm like, what the heck? Why would there be a CNN news tag, but I can't find any news? The only news article was like, new mysterious virus discovered in Wuhan. Everyone was treating it like no big deal. But then I discovered a subreddit on Reddit called Coronavirus.
Oh my gosh.
People in China at the time were like uploading stuff like, guys, it's
in
crazy.
Wuhan. In Wuhan.
Like Westerners living in Wuhan were like, guys, it's crazy. Don't listen to the news. Like they're locking things down here. People are like in hospitals. There's like people in the streets. People are dying. And I'm like, what the freak is going on? So I'm spending all my free time in that subreddit, like watching videos and stuff. And I'll be like showing Jess. And I think for Jess, obviously, as someone who's not like an anxious person or anything, she's not too worried about something that's happening halfway across the world.
Yeah.
But I'm telling her, like, because I'm seeing all these things on this subreddit, people are posting about it. This is like January, late December 2019, January 2020. I'm like, we have to go get our N95 masks. I have no idea what those were before. We got to get toilet paper. We got to stock up on food just in case like groceries stop. So remember like our old house, there used to be the stairs, but the stairs are kind of open and there's like space underneath the stairs.
Yeah, like storage space.
That was like our storage space. So we had a bunch of like rice bags, huge rolls of toilet paper.
Masks,
like bunch of masks that we bought.
Clorox,
water purifying
Clorox wipes.
Clorox, bleach, like actual like jugs of bleach.
Janice saw that everything that Josh like prepared us for, like our emergency kind of like stash, and she would be like, Josh, is this necessary? And she was laughing.
I felt like almost like I'm missing out on something because it seemed so serious, and I was like, is there something I don't know?
And for all our listeners at the time, this was January 2020.
Yeah,
before things went crazy.
Okay, and then going back on Jess's story, we went to Cabo in March. And then what happened there, Jess?
I told Jess she could only go if she promises she wears that gigantic, like real N95 mask. Like the ones that, because at the time it wasn't sold out. I was like, you can only go if you promise to God you would wear that mask every time in public.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I remember there were a couple other people wearing it on the plane, so I felt kind of relieved and like less embarrassed.
Right.
But like literally all of Janice's friends were like looking at me like I was crazy. And they're like, dude, Jess, like 진짜 고생한다, like fulfilling Josh's request. And I'm like, yeah, like he's just really worried. So, you know, I just want to make sure that, you know, he doesn't feel too worried about me. And then I wore it. And what's crazy was when we all came back from the trip, that's when like the shutdown happened. And then I think like almost all the girls got sick. And we think that was COVID. We think that was COVID.
Some people got really sick after that.
Yeah, but everyone was coughing like crazy. I was the only one who wore the mask like back and forth on the plane, and I didn't get sick. So yeah, that was like good insight on
it's true.
Josh's part.
And I don't even remember at that time, like it was weird. Like, you know, now everybody wears masks and it's not a weird thing anymore because of COVID. But I remember when Jess showed up and like she was in a cute like yellow dress and like this huge mask over her mouth, and it just looked so like silly. And I don't even remember other people in the plane wearing masks. So I was just like, Jess, are you serious? Come on.
And it wasn't even like those modern like N95 masks where you can just loop it over your ear.
Yeah.
It was the ones where you have to put over your head. It was like those heavy duty like actual like you know, like painter mask almost style. You know, over your head, like 2 strings, like the ones that are intense.
In the end, you were right, Josh. Like in the end, we came back and more than half of the girls got really sick. And then we went through shutdown. The whole world shut down. And then, you know, that's when I was like, Josh is a prophecy. He's
a prophet.
A prophet. Josh,
I believe a prophecy is something a prophet does, gives, provides.
Josh gives prophecies and is a prophet. And whatever Josh says, I will believe.
Yeah, so a lot of people actually made fun of Josh for like being too kind of overly prepared.
Yeah.
People, I've never had anyone like literally kind of laugh at me like that before. But like there were people who straight up cackled in my face when I told them like I think something big is coming.
Oh,
you should buy masks. I heard about this disease. People are straight up like dismissing me.
Yeah.
I've never really been straight up dismissed and laughed at like completely like that before.
Yeah.
You know? So it was like a weird feeling for me. Like, what's going on? Like, am I the crazy one?
Oh.
But I'm like, I'm seeing this evidence. Like, you know, I'm telling people like, go to this subreddit, you'll see for yourself.
Yeah.
And like, no one's really believing me. But all that to say, yeah, we were prepped. We were telling you, you didn't believe us. A lot of people didn't believe us. Then the shutdown happened.
Yeah.
One good thing that did come out of our hoarding. But to be fair, I didn't hoard during the craze. We bought all that stuff before the craze.
Yeah.
So it wasn't hoarding when we bought it. We were just being safe. But we were able to give like the mask and stuff to like a lot of doctors, like Jess's brother's doctor, and he was in the COVID ward as a resident.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, and then, you know, some healthcare workers at our church, we were able to give them like masks to them.
When COVID happened, I was like, Josh, you were right. And Josh's like, I told you.
I will say though, Josh kind of uses it too much on me now. Like when I'm like, Josh, it's fine. He's like, Jess, what did I say? Trust me.
It's because we would get into like massive fights because of my behavior during that time. I'd be like, we have to get this. I was like, we have to spend $200 on this like massive face respirator.
Holy crap.
That was kind of crazy. And he actually wanted me to wear that one to, what is it, Cabo? Like, there's no way in hell I am looking like a Ghostbuster and going to Cabo.
Yeah.
But then other things like Clorox, toilet paper, gloves, like all of those things, they were like completely like sold out. We couldn't find anything at Costco. There were like lines like out of the store at like, you know, Korean markets. But then we had it all under our trusty, you know, under stair storage. So I was like, damn. Like the whole time, all I could think about was like, Josh, you're like Noah from Noah's Ark, you know, the Bible story. Like, this is probably how Noah felt, you know, like he was warning everybody, guys, you know, God's gonna send a flood, everyone's gonna die, like a lot of people are gonna die, like you need to come on this ark, trust me. And people literally treated him like a psycho, right?
Yeah.
I was like, dude, Josh, like, you know how Noah feels now. Even me, like, I couldn't really take his side during that time because I thought the same. I was like, I wasn't on the subreddit, like reading all of that, like looking all of that. I mean, Josh was showing me, but like I wasn't paying attention, you know, because I thought he was crazy. But it ended up like literally affecting the whole world.
That's
being
crazy.
like the craziest pandemic we've ever experienced. And it's kind of crazy that we're like reminiscing about it like now, and we get to like, it'll probably be in our like in our kids' history books, right?
For sure.
Like talking about COVID 2020. So
wait, but also, can you talk about what happened in the club when we were in Cabo?
Oh yes, so like it was for Janice's this is a good story, Janice.
Yes.
Speaking of COVID, again, it was March 2020, and there were talks of it, but again, it wasn't anything serious. So we're like, so March was when like, oh, like, okay, like there's this thing called COVID, coronavirus. Okay, that's interesting. It's from Wuhan. But again, it was for Janice's bachelorette. So we're like going out, like partying, celebrating the bride. And I just remember there were a lot of like college students on spring break, right? So there were a lot of like youngins who were like, you know, out and about partying, drunk, and like having fun. And for us too, we're like trying to like have fun. We're trying to like, you know, celebrate Janice. But everywhere we go, like even our hotels, at the clubs, at the bars, like all these white kids would look at us, like point at us, and like, again, like they're like drunk, right? But they would like say coronavirus, coronavirus.
Crazy.
And it was like the most racist thing ever.
Yeah.
And like I remember some of them would even like bring a hand sanitizer bottle and come up to us and like give it to us. I forgot how long we were there for, but like on like the second or third night, again, shout out to our good friend Jane Kim. She's a sweetie pie. She's a sensitive soul. She just couldn't handle it anymore, like all the racism and all the hate, which is understandable. By like the 10th time someone was being racist to us, Jane like broke down in tears. Right? So I don't think, Janice, you saw, but I was right behind Jane. They were basically coming up to us saying coronavirus. They were pointing at us, like treating us like zoo animals. And then Jane started crying
in the club.
Like she started weeping in the club. She started weeping. And honestly, when I saw that, I think like for me, I don't really get, I mean, to Josh, I get angry, so he might beg to differ. But I like my public persona, I don't get angry. It takes like a lot for me to like kind of stand up for myself and like be confrontational. But when you mess like with my friends, with my family, with the people I love, that's when I get like very aggressive.
Yes.
Because I will stand up for them, you know? And like the moment I saw Jane crying, like I just saw red.
Yeah.
Like
you lost it.
I lost it. I was so pissed. And again, like this is me feeling like the racism too. So, you know, I was like pretty like jaded by it. So I go up to this little college white boy and I'm like, what'd you say? And then he's like drunk. He's like, I said coronavirus. And I pushed him like as hard as I can. And he fell. And then his friend was like, he's kidding. And I'm like, that's not funny. And I was like, and then like Sarah and like all the other girls were like holding me back so that I wouldn't like hit him. Because I was so angry. And then like his friend was like, dude, he was kidding. We're sorry. I was like, yeah, you better be sorry. And then we like walked away. But then what we think is like, they probably thought like, oh, we wouldn't fight back. We're these like docile Asian girls, you know, probably don't know English. But I think the friend was like really surprised when I was like, I don't think I cussed him out, but like I was very close to, and I fought back. I was being very aggressive. And the friend was like, I think taken aback by that. So, oh man, like I remember my blood was boiling and I just gave Jane the biggest hug and I was like, it's okay, Jane.
And then just did it.
이럴수록 힘내야 돼.
Wait, Jess, didn't you cry too though?
I did afterwards.
Angry tears, hot
Yeah,
Hot
tears.
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 All the adrenaline kind of like calmed down at
Yeah.
that point. I was like,
Like you were sad. What's crazy though is that I had no idea that this was happening. Like I didn't encounter any of the racism while we were in Kabul. I was just like, woohoo! And I didn't even know Jane cried. I didn't know Jess cried. So I think they were like hiding it from me so I could have a good time on my bachelorette trip. But yeah, they told me after the trip and I was just completely shocked. I was like, dude, if I had known, I would have fought back.
I think we were doing our best to like make sure that you were having a good time. So
I had a good time.
I'm glad. Like no regrets. Yeah.
The next thing we want to talk about is it's a funny topic. Jess and I, more me, I'm very weak with idioms. And oftentimes Josh and David are making fun of me and Jess for not knowing the easiest idioms. But you know what? Idioms are hard. So in this corner, we're going to talk about, well, Josh will bring up some idioms and Jess and I are just going to try to guess what it
they mean.
means, what they mean. And so this corner is called Idiom Idiots.
And just like a fun fact before we start, my job is being an SLP, a speech language
Mhm.
pathologist. One of the things I have to do is like teach like grammar, expressive language, and one of the
Yeah.
things I have to teach are idioms
Oh,
to my kids. But of
I
course,
didn't know
it's, like,
that.
it's gonna be like common said idioms. But then some of them,
Yes.
I'm like, dang, like I have never said this expression in my life.
Uh-huh.
Like I feel like it's a very cultural thing. Like Koreans, we have our own idioms, but just as Korean Americans, like I have never ever talked like with an expression or like an idiom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't
For
know.
sure.
And that reminds me, like, because Korean has its own idioms, and
Mhm.
a lot of times, like for example, like your mom, just my
Oh,
mother,
yeah?
when she tries to speak English, she combines idioms.
Like what? Like what?
In English, the idiom, the cognate in English would be the speak of the devil. Right?
Uh-huh.
Everyone knows what that means.
Yes.
Like oh wow, like that person you're speaking to. But in Korean, it's the literal translation is the tiger is coming. Like horang, like what is it? Like 호랑이가 something.
Something, yeah. It involves a tiger.
And then her mom wanted to say speak of the devil, but she couldn't remember the actual idiom. So her mom was like, the tiger is coming. And then Jess's whole family was like, what? Like, what are you trying to say? She's like, the tiger is coming. And we found out it's because she meant speaking of the devil.
Yeah.
So that's
so
become
good.
a catchphrase like within our family. Like even like when Josh and I talk and we want to say like speaking of the devil,
Yeah.
we say like the tiger is coming.
호랑이도 제 말하면 온다.
Ah,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Tiger is coming.
Tiger is coming.
That's the Korean version of Speak of the Devil. So what I wanted to do with you guys on your guys' show
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Show.
was
Yeah.
was to throw out some idioms because I know because this stems from the fact that I remember in college we were hanging out, we're studying together,
Uh-huh.
and you guys took an idiom test.
Yeah.
You guys did absolutely horrible. I think you guys got 4 out of 30. And then I took that same test and I got 30 out of 30.
Yeah, I
Of
don't
the
even know how
idiom
you know
test.
it, Josh.
Yeah,
Goes
and
back to
Josh
your
is a
reading, I guess.
fob, isn't he?
Yeah,
It's
born
your
in
fault.
Korea. So I want to kind of throw out these idioms at you guys, see if you guys
Uh-huh.
know what they mean.
Yes.
Thank you for bringing this
Easy.
up, Josh. I totally forgot about
Easy
it.
peasy.
Idiom idiots on the honey jam.
Yes.
So what does it mean to? I'll start with this easy one, right? To bite the bullet.
Go ahead,
Oh,
Jess.
come on. Come on. It's just get it over with. Like, let's
Okay,
get over with.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it means.
Thank you. Why am I
Okay.
nervous?
I know, I'm like really nervous right now. Honestly, I wouldn't have explained it that way either. Bite the bullet, but okay.
Next one's you, Jess.
Dang it.
Okay. Another easy one. It's an arm and a leg.
What?
I feel like I've heard this
Or
one.
it costs an arm and a leg.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. I've heard of this. Yeah. Like it cost a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Like
I
I had
knew
to
that one.
sacrifice. I had to sacrifice a lot for
yeah,
this
yeah,
to
yeah.
happen. Yeah.
Let's get a little bit harder, right?
Yes.
It's in the
Janice?
doldrums.
Excuse me?
In the doldrums.
Like in the Dole Whip drums.
in the doldrums.
How do you spell doldrums?
DOL drums.
In the doldrums, like in the shiz. In the gutter. In the gutter.
Oh.
That's my guess.
Like literal gutter, or what do you mean by gutter?
Like
Like
wait,
use
do
it,
you use it-
Janice. Use it. No, you use it as an expression.
I'm
Yeah,
not doing
that-
too
okay,
well these days.
okay.
I'm in the doldrums.
Oh no, Josh! I wanted
Oh,
Janice to
okay.
do it.
Janice to do it.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say something like, the project is in the doldrums.
No.
It's done for.
It's like when you're sad or depressed, you're in the doldrums.
I have never heard of that before.
All right, go ahead.
재밌는데?
Getting out of hand.
That's
Come on,
easy.
Josh. Come on. This is getting out of hand. This in itself is getting out of hand.
Okay.
Good one, Janice. Good one.
Thank you. Thank you.
What about the whole 9 yards?
Go ahead,
that
Janice.
진짜- that sounds like straight up just, white man language.
Wait. Try saying it, Janice. Try using it in an expression.
Wait, what is the idiom?
The whole 9 yards.
Go ahead, Janice.
Dang.
I'll do it too.
You go first. You go first.
Guys, this is it. This is the job that I wanted. I'm gonna go the whole 9 yards.
Oh. I still don't know what it means. Like all out?
I don't know. That's what I'm guessing. How about you?
It took me a whole 9 yards to it took me a whole 9 yards to make this dish. It took me a whole 9 yards to finish this dish. What does that mean?
It means
Josh is
everything
done.
like all the way. Like all the way. You need
Okay,
to go
okay.
the distance. That's the
Uh-huh.
whole 9. Like, I'm gonna go the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so
like,
Jess
I'm
got it
a-
right.
Yeah, something along those lines. Not exactly in that sentence, but it's the gist of it was right.
I see.
Oh, so can you use it in expression, because I would like to use it one day.
I'm gonna buy a new computer. I'm gonna get a monitor. I'm gonna get a new mouse, new keyboard, the whole 9 yards.
Wow. Okay, so it's more like you use it like as an
나
add-on.
제대로 할
The
거야.
whole-
제대로 할 거야.
The whole
Yeah.
9 yards.
Yeah.
Okay, 제대로 할 거야.
나
Okay,
진짜
okay.
제대로 할 거야, kind of
Ah.
thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay, let's get a couple more.
Okay,
Yeah.
couple more. This is fun. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
The devil is in the details.
Oh, this is easy.
Yeah,
Come on.
just-
Oh, is it easy?
Go ahead.
Do you want me to do it in expression?
Yes.
Okay. Guys, come on. You guys can't miss this. You guys can't miss this. These are errors you shouldn't make. The devils are in the details.
Uh-huh.
The
어때?
devils are in the details. It's plural now all of a sudden. Multiple devils. There's devils everywhere.
The
Okay,
devil
this is what
is
I mean.
coming.
I get nervous when I use the actual idiom. I butcher it. The
Uh-huh.
devil is in,
Tigers are in the details.
The devil's in the details.
the devil, the tiger, and everything
Uh-huh.
is in the details.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, so do you know, Janice?
The devil in the details is kind of like, that's the meat. You got to pay attention to the details.
I guess, yeah. Wait, did I
Like-
use it right, Josh?
You use it right, but that's not the definition, Janice. It's pretty much saying like you got to look closer at the details. Because that's where therein lies the problem.
Therein lies the problem.
My example was like, hey, you shouldn't get it wrong. Like, look
Uh-huh.
closely because the
I
devil
see.
is in the details.
I
Yeah.
see. Oh, 진짜. Like, I've heard of some of these, but
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
use them.
He's a chip off the old block.
Dude, okay, I've definitely heard this, but I don't know what it means.
I don't even know what chip off the shoulder means. I've heard that before.
Janice.
What is it called? What
It's
is
not
it?
chip
Chip-
off
oh,
the shoulder.
chip
It's a chip
on-
on my shoulder.
A chip on my shoulder. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I believe if your shoulder chipped off, that's considered I think that's a medical emergency.
I have a chip on my shoulder, and then yours is a chip off the street.
A chip off the old.
chip-
He's a chip off the old block.
Oh, he's
Okay.
trouble. That guy's trouble. He's a
Oh.
chip off the street corner. What?
Chip off the
Chip off the old block. Wow. Do people actually use that word? Idiom?
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait, it was
So
was that right? Janice said he's trouble.
no, not even close.
Wait, just guess then. Just guess.
Okay. He's a chip off the whole block. You know?
Oh, wait, I
He's-
know. Chip
Oh.
off the old block, like he's been around. He's a familiar face.
Close. Good guess.
Okay,
It's actually a good
my
guess,
guess.
but
Go
no.
ahead, Jess.
Oh, really? Okay. My guess. You know, like He's a friendly guy. We all love him. He's a chip off the old block.
Oh.
Good try. Very good
Wait,
try.
yeah,
But
that's
no.
really good.
Do you guys want to know the definition?
Yes,
It means,
desperately.
like, for example, you're like your parents. You're like your dad. Or you're
Oh,
Like,
like Hui is a chip off the old block.
I have
He's just
another
like his
idiom
dad.
that's very similar to that. The fruit
apple.
doesn't fall from the
Yeah, exactly. That's very similar. Idiom, yeah.
the apple doesn't
What
fall.
fruit
doesn't
though?
fall-
The
The
apple.
fruit doesn't fall far from the apple. Was that
The
what you were
apple
going to say, Janice?
doesn't
The
fall
fruit doesn't fall from the apple.
far from the tree.
Far from the tree. Yeah, no, it's like similar. Very similar.
Oh, wow.
Okay, what's chip on my shoulder then?
Chip on my shoulder is like you have something to prove.
Oh,
chip on your
oh, like this guy walks around like he has a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah. Like he
What does that
mean,
wants
though?
to try and prove something.
Like,
you
he's
prove
like-
something to someone. He tries hard to like show that he is something. Let's say like I'm a basketball player and I have a chip on my shoulder. I'm gonna be practicing every day because I need to prove to the world that I'm good.
I see. I see.
Or like
a-
what? Like another context, like like that intern in our office. He wants to get hired so badly. He's there every day until 9 p.m. He has a chip. he has a chip on his shoulder. See, guys, I get
Wow.
nervous using idioms. Does that make sense, Josh? My
Yeah.
example. Okay.
Wow, that makes it so much easier to understand. But then I'm gonna forget it again.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like all of these I've heard before, but because
Yeah.
I don't use it, I don't really know what it means.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put something on ice.
Oh.
Put it on ice.
쫄았어 바로. Oh,
Put it on ice. Jess,
Okay.
go first.
I'm gonna take a stab at it.
That's another idiom.
Do you want me to use it in a sentence?
No, don't, because I think
Okay.
that makes it obvious. Put it on ice. Wait, just give us the tonal way of how you would say it, the intonation of it.
Well, let's put it on ice.
Oh, okay.
I think I know. Go
Let's
ahead.
put it on
Okay,
ice.
what does it mean?
Basically, like let's put it on pause. Let's put it
yeah.
on hold.
Yeah.
Janice? That's exactly what it means.
Okay.
I've never heard that before.
Dang, I've never heard of that either. I was actually gonna guess like, oh, like let's put this on the money or something. Like let's bet on something.
Oh.
Let's put it on ice. Like let's put it on diamonds. Let's put it on the ice.
That's
Let's
what I was
put our
thinking.
ice on it, baby. Ice.
I was thinking too deeply,
Okay, last one. This is the one I mentioned
Last
in my
one.
text there, but add a loggerheads.
dude.
What?
I have no freaking idea. At a
Take a guess.
loggers.
Add a loggerheads.
Loggerhead.
What?
At
L-
loggerheads. Or at a loggerheads.
Oh, I know.
Ooh.
You do.
They're 부딪혔다. 약간 like they haven't They haven't aligned.
They're butting
Yeah.
heads.
they're butting heads.
Yes.
They're butting heads.
Yes.
Wow.
Whoa, Janice. There you go, man.
At loggerheads. Wow.
I had no idea.
Josh and I are always at loggerheads.
I think you and David are always at loggerheads.
Your booty's at loggerhead. You
That
know,
was
whenever
so uncalled for.
whenever
So out of
How can you say this
Hey.
on a podcast?
Wait, okay, this is also an expression that
Oh.
I didn't know, but that's so out of pocket. That's so
Yeah.
out of pocket.
Yeah,
It
Janice,
is.
that was very out of pocket.
Whenever Josh disses me, I just pull out a good old butt joke, and then he just shuts right up.
He feels
I
harassed.
I feel harassed.
I just mention his booty. I go, "Hey, Josh, you got a big butt."
I'm like, where is this? Which HR can I report to?
Of Honey Jam? Us.
Yeah.
What a
Anyways.
great ending. Thanks for preparing that, Josh.
I know. Thank
yeah.
you, Josh. What is
Yeah.
your
What's your
강추?
강추?
These days, I've really been into. I tried to get Jess to watch it with me, but she didn't. But I was watching this Japanese anime called Slam Dunk, but they made a movie about it.
Okay.
It's called The First Slam Dunk. And it was
Oh.
amazing. It's about like this team, and there's so much like brotherhood and like growing up and just male angst that I can
Yeah.
relate with.
Ah.
Teenage male angst, and I just thought it was, and the animation was crazy. So I would very like to Kangchu, The First Slam Dunk, the movie.
I will say I uploaded that story on my Insta. Like Josh is making me watch this, and then I took a quick photo of Slam Dunk.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys messaged me saying like, and you should thank him. I think most actually said that. They're like
Wow.
the best. And then my hyungbu, my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, He's like, where does he watch this? Like, he was so like serious about it. He's like, where can we watch this? And I was like,
That's
oh,
so
he
funny.
got the DVD. He's like, can I borrow it? And I was like, this is not the reaction I wanted from people.
Like no girls cared at all. It was just all dudes being like, oh yeah, it was amazing, it's wonderful.
All the guys around like Josh's age and older, I feel like they have like a special heart for a slam dunk.
Yes. Here on the Honey Jam podcast, we do not discriminate any Gangchu. So
Yeah.
we thank you, Josh. And
Yeah.
I'm sure many our male listeners would appreciate it.
Yeah. The first slam dunk. Watch it.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to us. You know, we had a lot of fun talking to my husband, my sweetie pie. Okay, that's gross. My boo, Josh. Josh, thank you so much for, you know, joining us. We really enjoyed having you. But if you guys want to listen or even watch us, because I feel like that's another experience, look up Ha It's Janice on YouTube and you'll be able to see our video and listen. And like and subscribe. Give us 5-star reviews, please, because we appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
How come you guys don't do you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you watch your podcast?
Well, there you go.
There you go. Thank you, Josh.
Bye.